and the other one right here. Okay, when you're ready.
Okay. Yeah, because I can edit all this out. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. Greetings, friends, and no, you're not seeing things, and you don't have to adjust your screen. It is me, Mark Anthony K, and my good friend, Mr. Ken Keenan, back for episode 19, if you can believe it, of the East-West Vinyl Analysis. Where have we been? Well, we've been everywhere and everywhere, and busy doing things. And as you know, Ken and I have been doing a lot of things with the podcast, with the KISS one. I've been doing a lot of things now that I have a record label to tend to, as well as my own music stuff. So things have been piling up. But you know what? Being busy is better than having nothing to do. So I kind of look at it that way, that, you know, everybody here is busy in their world doing their things. But we decided now that this is an important time for me and Ken to get together and talk shop, as they say. So first of all, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. Like I said, you know, lots of stuff's been going on, and as far as being busy with, like I said, other podcasts and work in general, and so on. This, you know, we don't have a lot of time for this extra stuff, but I'm glad that we got this time to get back together and go over some stuff today.
Exactly. And it's so funny, just as you were talking now, my phone beeped again with my art guy who's doing the art for the Joe Bailey album, just beeped me with some ideas. I told him that, you know, give me an hour or so and I'll get back to you on it. So that's the kind of world that we live in right now. At least I do right now for this. So, but it's all good. So what are we going to talk about today? Today, we're going to talk about Record Store Day. It's coming up June, July, you know, 2 drops, a lot of things coming down the pipe. Some people are excited about it. Some people are not excited about it. We'll get to what we are thinking very soon about it. In this episode, what we're going to do is me and Ken have decided to pick out 3 that we find, well, that we feel are impertinent for, or well, pertinent for us to go and pick up, you know, for our collections, and you know, go into it a little bit more detail, why and stuff like that. And then after that, we'll probably just skim through the list and pick out some other ones that are of interest as well. So, Record Store Day is divided into 2 days, as I said, June and July. And there's a lot of things that have been dropped into 2 different shipments. Now I'll just pull up on my phone here the list. I have it here. And I have already put up on my phone the first item that I'm very interested in picking up for myself. Now, let me just grab it here because I have a copy of this as well. Now, let me explain. I have it right here. So, the first item that I'm extremely excited to get is this. This is Elias of Sun Hillow by John Anderson. Okay, this album was John Anderson's first solo record. It came out in 1976, I believe. It's on one of those, you know, little crazy labels that they made for Atlantic, made custom for it. It was the record that he claims that pretty much almost killed him. He said because it was all by himself doing it in his garage. He got himself a 24-track machine and all kinds of gear, and went to town and ended up making a record that Yes fans and a lot of progressive rock fans consider one of the, you know, greatest solo records that might have come down the pipe. So, why am I excited about this album? Well, because they're doing a 45th anniversary release of it. As I'm looking here on my phone, there's great. There's like a, oh, yeah, let me unplug this thing, stupid thing. So, it just kind of has on the screen there the album, right?
Yeah.
And it has all the pertinent information down here, which says that, for example, it is coming out on Cherry Red Records. There are 1,200 copies of this to be done. Now, this one is dropping on the July 17th day. So when June rolls around, I'll be kind of not being, well, I won't be able to pick this one up then. But the information on it is as follows. It's a 180 gram 45th anniversary limited edition vinyl release that fully restores the original lavish album artwork. Stunning new remaster from the original master tapes cut at Abbey Road Studios. Now, you might say to yourself, well, what do you mean? Like, what's so lavish about this stuff? Well, this is why I pulled this out, so I can kind of show you what they mean by that. So, this album has one of these nice kind of, you know, nice feel to it. It's not like, flat cardboard. It's like there's like a texture to it.
Texture.
Now,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Now when you open it here, there's
That's cool.
nice stuff in here. But this is what they're talking about. There's like a whole booklet here
Oh,
of
okay.
stuff. Like there's
Nice.
like a story that goes with this whole album. Now there's another section here as well. But then inside they have the lyric sheet in there as well. So there's it's like a kind of
Nice package.
like a whole story thing attached to this, right? So when they're saying they're restoring it to the full, its full glory, that's what
It
they were
should be.
kind of trying to mean, that it's back to this kind of thing, making all the nice kind of adjustments back to it. And having 180 gram vinyl of this record is a good idea, obviously. And I'll tell you another thing, because I have a US copy and I have a Canadian one. A friend of mine actually sent a US copy to me, so it was nice to get that. Getting a copy, excuse me, of this record from the original year, and they didn't reissue this too many times, so that's the one to get, is the original year. To find one that's not played to death is a bit of a task. Like, some people say, "Oh, I went to the store and I went through the dollar bin and I found this record and it was like never played." No, you'll never say that about Elias of Sun Hillow. It's like it was either played a lot or played a hell of a lot. You know what I mean? So you put it on, it's like, or you put it on, it's like, that's really bad. So, I'm very happy that they're putting out a new version of it, because they did that with Chris Squire's Fish Out of Water as well, his solo record. They put out a fantastic box set for that, and I'm so happy I got that, because I had a couple copies of it. They were all decent, but these are all quiet, flat, so that's the way to go. So I'm very happy that came out. So that's my first pick, my first excitement for Record Store Day. What about you, Ken? What's your first kind of pick?
Yeah. Well, I just say that's a good one. I mean, when I saw the name John Anderson on the list, I'd like, oh, Mark's gonna snatch that one up.
You're correct.
But that looks pretty darn cool. And if they do recreate that, that's a nice package.
Yeah.
With the booklet and all, and then hopefully I assume it's all remastered and
Abbey Road and stuff like that.
Yeah, it'll be the Abbey Road stuff always seems to be top notch.
Yeah, they do a good job.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my first pick is going to be it's called Tom Petty, Angel Dream. What it started as, there was actually a soundtrack to a movie which was called She's the One. I kind of I don't remember. I remember the name of the movie, She's the One. I don't remember anything about it. But it was in the 90s, and this period was shortly after another album which he had released, which was Wildflowers. And I mean, just for example, right now they did this Wildflowers,
yes,
and all the rest, which is the other songs, because it was originally, I think, intended to be a double or type album. Actually, this is a triple.
Wow.
If you look at this one, I mean, I recently got this, and this is really good stuff. I really, love Tom Petty, but
wow,
really
look at that.
Nice.
Love that telly.
Yeah, gatefold. It's really cool. It has all the lyrics on the inner sleeves and stuff like that. But some of those songs were from those sessions, I believe, that was recorded for this. So this one was going to be released in June. I mean, there's 12,000 copies is going to be released. I mean, obviously, Tom Petty is a big name. But it is going to be on a limited blue. It's like blue vinyl, I think, cobalt blue. It's called vinyl. And I guess I can read some of the stuff about it.
Sure.
It says Angel Dream is a special reimagining of the album She's the One to celebrate the 25th anniversary of its original release. This also brings to a close the celebration of Tom Petty's masterpiece, Wildflowers, which I was just showing, as most of the songs on this album were recorded during the same time period. She's the One included some of the songs that were left over off the original Wildflowers album, recently included in the Wildflowers and All the Rest reissue, which I have that. It says to take the place of those songs, 4 previously unreleased songs have been added here: 2 Petty Originals, 105 Degrees, and One of Life's Little Mysteries, a cover of J.J. Cale's 13 Days, and instrumental French Disconnection. um, French Connection is for people who remember that. That was an old movie, French Connection, a very famous movie from the 70s. But this is French Disconnection. And an extended version of Supernatural Radio is also included. And it says, the album has been remixed, remastered, brand new cover art commissioned, emphasizing that this is a Tom Petty and Heartbreakers album rather than a soundtrack album.
Yeah.
So this is a special version, and for Record Store Day, and is pressed on cobalt blue vinyl. So I mean I love Tom Petty music, just all kinds of great stuff, even up through there's still some I haven't gotten in the 2000s. I'm kind of working my way to that. I have all the stuff before, 70s, 80s, 90s, but the 2000s, I'm kind of, I need to go pick up some, listen to it and stuff, because it turns out everything he writes is pretty much, just great stuff. So I'm excited about that one. I hope there'll be copies available. I mean, with 12,000, I hope I'll be able to pick up one. I think that I should be able to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and as you said, Tom Petty is known as a great songwriter, great performer. So, like you said, I mean, picking this up is probably an absolute no-brainer, especially if you're a person who loves this type of music or love Tom Petty. So I think that's also their thinking in pressing 12,000 copies, because if they were uncertain of its selling, they wouldn't commit to that much stuff. It's just like how Chad Chasm and those guys at Acoustic Sound made 12,000 copies of what's that, Kind of Blue from what's his name there, Miles Davis. So you wouldn't print that many of that One Step if the UHQR or whatever it is, if you didn't think you would sell out that many. So
it was a demand.
So I think that's a good pick, and I think that I have a good feeling that you'll be getting a copy of that. So
I'll get it somehow, or rather,
now
if I can initially, I'll still try to get it.
Now, is that in the June or the July drop?
This is the I believe the June drop, I think. Yeah. I believe it's the June drop. Yeah.
So you don't have to wait as much as I have to for my
6/12. Yeah. It's June 12th, the first drop.
So you don't have to wait.
Coming up pretty soon here. Couple more weeks.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go on to pick number 2.
What's your next pick?
So my next pick is something that when I kind of saw it, I was like, ooh, okay, I wasn't expecting that. Now, I have something here that I'm going to show you, something similar to it. It's not the same thing that's coming out, but just an example of why I would be kind of excited about this. Let me just find it here. Oh, here it is. It's right in the front, so I don't have to search. Now, I'll warn you already, this is not an official release that I'm going to show you. Okay. But this is a bootleg of a Genesis live concert. Okay. Now this is from the I guess it was then there was 3 tour, because it says 2 down, 3 left or something like that at the top there. 2 down, 3 left, right under Genesis there. Yeah. And it's the songs on it are The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, The Carpet Crawlers, Cinema Show, Robbery, Assault and Battery, I Know What I Like in My Wardrobe, In Your Wardrobe, and Los Endos, and then Lamb Stew, and in brackets, Watchers of the Sky. So this is basically a live audio recording from a FM performance, apparently, that they did. Now, this came completely on just like a white blank label. Now, of course, me being the kind of person that I am, I couldn't leave it possibly like that, so I made my own little label
Oh, nice.
for it. Right.
Very good.
So it says on there, what if you didn't catch that, it says Genesis, Cleveland, 1976, Ohio, FM radio. That was side 2 and then side 1.
Nice.
So basically why I pulled this one out is because when I saw this on the, I saw this on there, I was very excited. Now, what is that? It is Genesis Live at Knebworth 1990. Now, this comes out on June 12th.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Eagle Rock Records. Now, here's the thing that I'm a little like, concerned about. There are 2,700 copies of this worldwide. That's it. 2,700. So I'm like, shit. Okay, so here's a little bit of insight on it. It says, Mercury Studios are delighted to announce for the first time in 30 years the release of Genesis Live at Knebworth. This is a 2-track EP exclusively for the Record Store Day 2021 drop. So side 1 is just Mama, and side 2 is the Turn It On Again medley. So basically what they did is they made this is like a 12-inch single kind of thing, where on one side it's going to be Mama, on the other side it's going to be Turn It On Again. I love 12-inch singles. I've been collecting them like a madman of late. I have so many really in 12-inch yet. And my good friend George Nanos, who lives in Wasaga Beach, which is about 2 hours from where I live. We've become friends. He follows me on my live stream that I do in the evenings sometimes with my friend Patrick, where we just spin music all night and talk about records. And he found out that I'm a huge, Rush fan and a huge, Genesis and this and that. And he sent me a whole whack load of 12-inch Rush singles. Like I couldn't believe it when I got this. Like so many of them. New World Man, a live 12-inch of like Tom Sawyer live. All these 12 inches he sent me. So I'm big on the 12-inch singles, and this one, I'll show it again, will be one that I'm very much hoping to add to my collection. Now,
that's cool. Yeah.
If you remember back in the day, there was a 12-inch single for Mama that came out during the time of the Genesis self-titled album, the 83 one. It had like a kind of die-cut album cover. I have that as well. So the Live at Knebworth show is on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. You can't see that on there. So the performance was really well done. What I'm getting the feeling is that they're going to be releasing the whole concert at some point, but I'm guessing this is kind of like a teaser,
a teaser for what
2
they
tracks.
will.
Yeah, for what's going to be coming down the line. So I'm happy that it's going to be the June release. So at least I have something to look forward to in the June drop. So that is my second selection.
Yeah, that's a cool selection. That's another one that's a Genesis. I was like, yeah, that's another probably Mark again. As I guess, yeah, sorry, because I know you like Genesis a lot. I think it's cool. I noticed another thing, and maybe you noticed this. There seems to be a lot of live releases coming out this year for different, bands and groups. I just noticed that it's like there seems to be an awful lot of live stuff. All of a sudden, everyone is starting to flood with live releases versus maybe reissues of studio, because maybe they've done all the studio albums. But I think they're like, this is the next phase in releases is a live music.
Yeah, but you know what's funny though about that when you mentioned this, Ken, is that when this whole COVID thing started, a lot of us independent artists jumped on the opportunity of making studio records, because a lot of us have our own little studios at home and we do stuff. And so all of us, when we talk amongst each other, thought to ourselves, this is going to be great. Bands that we love now can take this time to make studio albums now. They don't have to worry about, touring and stuff like that right now. They can make, no. And like you said, all these bands are releasing live albums, and that's something that's really frustrating, I find, because you have all the time in the world now. But you know what it is, Ken, and I'm pretty sure this is what it is that these bands, like your Kiss and your big bands like Scorpions or these other big bands, they have this thing in their back of their head where we have to do it at a big major studio, like, Capitol Studios, or, we have to go back to all our stomping ground, like the usual recording studios, like Electric Lady and stuff like that, to go record. Otherwise, it won't be worth releasing, which is total bullshit because lots of people record at home now and send stuff to people to mix, like, Kevin Gray or whoever else, Chris Lord Alge and these people to mix it, and they get great records out of it, you
Hmm.
know. And I know this is a sore point for me and you that Kiss haven't released a studio record in God knows how long. This would have been a great time for them to do it, but no, of course, now they're just releasing more live stuff that they've had in their vaults collecting dust, and they're just sending it out, selling it now to us instead of that. I'm a little disappointed in that, but hey, I'm looking forward to that Kiss one that's coming out. By the way, that's a little off topic, but that's
Yeah,
my whole point with this, because you mentioned that that these bands are just releasing live stuff as opposed to studio stuff, and I think that's a little bit of a missed opportunity.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally agree. It's I don't know. I just noticed, I keep seeing releases. I keep seeing a lot of live stuff. And it's kind of surprising to me that I guess I
Yeah,
guess it's easy to do. That's the one thing about it, right? It's totally
yeah.
easy for them to knock that out. All right. Well, that was a cool pick. I think that the company who put that out, that new Genesis one, they should have used your artwork on the label. Yeah. Your artwork. That would have been cool. They should have asked you for it, right?
Yeah,
So,
I would have given them permission. Come on.
yeah. All right. So my next one is, which is kind of surprising, and there's good things I like about it, and there's things I don't like about it. But the thing is, I was still gonna get it probably anyway. Um, and it's also on June 12th release on the first drop. It's going to be Triumph Allied Forces 40th anniversary. Uh, and a lot of people know Triumph Allied Forces album. I should have picked it out. I have the album, but anyway, uh, it is a really great album from back in the what was it? I can't remember. It was like early '80s, wasn't it? I'm trying to remember
No, it's
that,
70s. It's
or was it
70.
late '70s?
Yeah,
It's got to be.
late. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's
You're
'79
in
or
luck
something like
because I
that.
have it.
Oh, you have it right there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It is 19. Hang on. Sorry, I can't see through here.
I
My
wanted
eyes
to say
terrible.
early, but it was around 80. I would say close to there.
Oh, you're right. 81.
Oh, it was early. Okay. All right. So it
Yeah,
was
you're
early.
right.
All right.
My
So yeah.
mistake.
Okay. Okay. That's all right. There's so many, albums and dates, so we can't remember them all. I never remember them all. But so yeah, 81. And it's kind of to me, I think it's kind of like a breakout record for them. It's when I took notice and got that album. I always loved that full album. So what it is it's a box set, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. And so what it is on there's a few vinyls. There's the first vinyl, which is a picture disc of the Allied Forces studio album. Well, the only
Hmm.
thing that bothers me about that is I almost would have rather them had at least uh, a regular version of either on black vinyl or whatever of that
Yeah.
album, because we know picture discs usually don't sound very, very good. I think they're getting better in sound quality.
Marketably better. A
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
better.
yeah. But I still would have. I mean, it's not perfect usually. So yeah, that's the only thing that kind of like semi turns me off, because I'm worried about the sound quality of that one. Now the vinyl two is actually two LP of Live in Cleveland,
Hmm.
which now that sounds interesting. And we were just
Yes.
talking about live music. So Live in Cleveland, I think that should be pretty cool. I'm guessing it's all as part of that Allied Forces tour that
Yeah.
time period. So I'm hoping that sounds really good. I haven't gone back and looked around YouTube or anything for Cleveland, 80, back then.
Hmm.
So I'm assuming it's probably going to be pretty good quality, or else they wouldn't be releasing it. And then the third is in the box is a 7-inch single, which is actually a tribute version of Allied Forces by Phil X and Magic Power Live from Ottawa. And I don't know who Phil. Do you know who Phil X
Oh, I
is?
know who Phil X is.
All
Yeah.
right, you can explain that to me. Ottawa 82 it says never before released. And then this also has, and before you explain that, uh, it has a 24-page booklet, an Allied Forces tour book. That's cool. Allied Forces tour poster, Allied Forces tour pass, Rick picks, three hand-drawn cartoons and handwritten lyrics. Magic Power, Allied Forces, and Fight the Good Fight. Lyrics for those, I guess, handwritten lyrics. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I thought, oh, this might be interesting. Little pickup. So, what do you say about this Phil X?
So now, just to clarify what you talked about there with the 7-inch single, what it basically is that it's Phil X doing Allied Forces, and the side B is Magic Power live from Ottawa from 1982.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
two separate things there. Phil X actually was the guy who replaced Rick Emmett when he left
Oh, is that
Triumph.
who it was? Okay.
Yeah,
All
and he
right.
played with them on that album that came out then after the name of the album just exited my mind just
Never
now.
Surrender or something like that, or
No,
not
it's
that.
it's much later than
Later,
that. But
later than that. Yeah, because
yeah,
I
it's
thought
like it's
that
in the
was the.
'90s that album. But
Oh,
they
okay.
he came out on he was playing guitar with them at that time. Phil X is a fantastic guitar player. If you look him up on there, you'll see him doing all kinds of crazy stuff on guitar, and he also plays guitar for Bon Jovi. He's right now replacing Richie Sambora.
Oh, is that
So
right?
yeah,
Okay,
so
I looked
he
that up.
was he's the main guy now on guitar for them.
Interesting.
He's really good. Great guitar player. He can do anything and everything. He's done some cool covers of Black Sabbath songs on his channel. He's really good, and he was working for a music store for a long time. And he would always come up, and every week they would say, "Hey, it's Phil X here with my new guitar for the week, the 1969 Les Paul." So he would like show you, and he's a really good guy. He's a character. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
So,
Well,
so
cool.
that's what that is there as far as Phil X and his association with Triumph. It's because he was in the band for a while there.
Mm-hmm.
So excellent pick. So good a pick. Actually, in fact, it was my third pick as well. So
Yes.
this is why
I
I
figured you'd
had,
probably pick it too.
yeah, this is why over here I had brought this up here. So let me just show you
Oh,
here
good.
this will help, you know, our discussion of this. So I have here a Canadian first pressing
Mm-hmm.
Triumph Allied Forces
Yep.
right
That's
here.
it.
Excuse me. And then the back side, you see the guys there.
Yep. Three-piece band.
3-piece.
Yep.
There's the vinyl. It's on. This one came out on Attic Records back in the day.
Yeah. If I think of what my label is, because I have the U.S. pressing.
Yeah.
Early pressing.
You would have MCA, I think, for yours.
Mm-hmm.
I think. So this has like "Fool for Your Love," "Magic Power,"
Yeah.
which is a huge song. "Air Raid Siren," "Allied Forces," which is a big song as well. "Hot Time in the City Tonight." Side 2 has "Fight the Good Fight," which is a
Great song.
fantastic song.
It is a great song.
"Ordinary Man," "Petite Etude," and "Say Goodbye." This is
Say Goodbye is a
really,
real good song.
yeah, this is a really, really, really good album.
Oh.
Now, I was so into this record that when I was going around and hunting around for things in my local record store, well, actually, no, correction. This is not from a record store. When I was hunting around on Discogs, I came across this, and I was like, whoa, okay, I gotta buy this. So this is Triumph Allied Forces, but this is a sort of special album-oriented rock and roll, not for sale. This is a promo copy, and this was sent out apparently to radio, this version of the album.
Yeah.
Because what's on here is side A it's a totally different track listing. It's "Say Goodbye," first song, then "Blinding Light Show," "Moonchild," which is from a different album, "I Can Survive," "Fool for Your Love," side B, "Ordinary Man," "I Live for the Weekend," "Hold On," "Laid on the Line." So these are songs from other albums included on here.
Right.
Okay. Now side C and D, which is a separate album, obviously, has the Allied Forces Radio Special featuring conversations with Gilmore and Mike Levine. And then side D has the Allied Forces Radio Special featuring conversations with Rick Emmett. So when you get this, and I'll show it here, this is side A and B. This is the one that has the tracks. So I guess when they sent this out, this is a way of promoting their new stuff plus their back catalog.
I see.
Right. A white label promo.
Yeah.
Right. And then I guess after they would choose, tracks to spin off of that album, and then when they were done at the picking out whatever, they would most likely spin this at the radio stations to fill up the time for the information of the album.
Yeah.
So you have the interviews with Gil and Mike Levine there, and then you have Rick Emmett's side there. So really, really cool stuff. And I'll just open the gatefold really quickly so you can take a look at that. You can tell this is totally geared towards radio and people who maybe at the radio station or maybe not too familiar with the band. As you can see, there's like articles and
that's really
stuff
cool.
Like that about the band.
Nice. Yeah, that's a nice promo for that time period, and that's really a thorough one. Usually don't go that, sometimes they do, but most of the time it's pretty basic. But that's really, really cool. I mean, usually they just send out an album with it's a white label promo, and it's the same as that, released to the public. But that's a nice promo to show off the band. I actually might want to look for that one myself and get a copy because that looks really, really cool.
I highly recommend it, Ken, because they have a great selection of songs from the other albums prior to Allied
good
Forces.
Songs from other albums.
Oh, great stuff. Like Lay It on the Line is like a huge song.
Yeah, that's huge.
Blinding Light Show was one of the epic songs of their live concert. I mean, honestly, Ken, and I'll tell you what, just between me and you, it's not very expensive right now. Not many people know about it, so not expensive. So it might be a good time to get it.
People see this video.
Yeah.
I'll probably do right. I'll look it up right after we do this.
Yeah, cool. It might be a good idea. So there's our 3 picks. Now, why don't we just kind of go look through the list and maybe pick out a couple of ones that you might think that hey, you know what? If I see it, I think I might get it, kind of thing.
Yeah, some other things that I was noticed first when we talked about live albums. There was The Police.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, you see that one?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
There's 2 of those. First, there's one that's a live volume 1. I guess there's 2 volumes. You're considering it separate. Ones you can buy. You can buy it both, or you can buy one each. Live Volume 1, Boston in '79, and that sounds really interesting. Maybe I should bring it up here, the details of that one, because that one sounds pretty cool. And
that's second album, Regatta de Blanc. I'm pretty sure that's that.
Because I remember buying right when they released their early stuff. I bought. Yeah, that's probably right. You said. It's probably Regatta de Blanc.
Because the first album, Outlandish D'Amour, was '78, I think. That was the year before.
That sounds right. That does sound right. First time live album collection, originally released on a 2 CD set in '95. So
there you
it's
go.
First time on vinyl. 2 separate double LPs showcase the band on 2 stages. '79, it says... performing in its rawest, etc. Nothing else. The live gig took place at the Orpheum in Boston during the tour of the second album, Regatta de Blanc. Yeah, and the broadcast on the local radio station WBCN at the time. It captures the Police at their most frantic and energetic, which I believe at that time. Includes the classic early hits and like Next to You, So Lonely, Bring On the Night, The Beds Too Big Without You, Roxanne, Walking on the Moon, and Can't Stand Losing You. So that's and it's on a heavyweight colored vinyl. So
I think it's definitely something to look into too, because that's more my favorite era. There's 2 eras of Police that I like. I really like Synchronicity. Most people kind of like, they don't like that era too much. I love it. but the first two records I thought were really good. It was a good combination of punk and the introduction of their reggae influence in that as well, right? So I thought
Yep.
those two records are really, really, really well done. So and to watch them live at that time, it was a lot of energy on that stuff.
Yeah. I guess the other one is the volume two is similar, but it was recorded during the Synchronicity tour of '83,
Oh, okay,
during a
cool.
stop in Georgia.
The
But
Omni,
it
right?
has it says highlights include Tea in the Sahara, Every Breath You Take,
Mm-hmm.
Synchronicity 1, Synchronicity 2, as well as De Do Da Da, um, and Don't Stand So Close to Me.
Yeah.
And these were all also remastered at the 20 at Abbey Road
Yeah.
also. So yeah, so that was something I thought was interesting. That's a possibility I might pick up one of them
Yes.
or you know, or
Very,
both.
very nice. So I mean, I definitely think I'm gonna grab those. Definitely, I'll grab Volume One because I do love that era, and I do love
Mhm.
Synchronicity too. Ironically,
Yeah.
they picked those two eras. Now, the other thing that when I was leafing through, that I saw that I was like, oh, okay, I might have to get this. But I mean, I'm kind of uncertain about it. But is that Black Sabbath are releasing Heaven and
Oh
Hell and
yeah.
Mob Rules, but they're coming out on LP picture disc, which again, picture disc I'm not too big on, but
Right.
they are much better nowadays, the picture disc, than they were in quality from the 70s and the 80s. There's only 4,000 copies of that as well, and it's being dropped in June. It says here Black Sabbath's classic 1980 Heaven and Hell, pressed on a limited edition picture disc for the first time exclusively for Record Store Day. The artwork shows the album's original Smoking Angels cover, which is the album cover that they've always had. I don't know why they're saying the original. And the front, uh, on the front, and the illustration of the band by artist Henry Karamine on the back. Newly remastered audio. Now, don't forget, here's the thing, folks.
Mhm.
Very recently, Black Sabbath, I think Rhino might have been the one who did it, that released a 2 LP version of Heaven and Hell and a 2 LP version of Mob Rules, where LP2 had some live tracks on it, like bonus tracks. This is probably the same exact mastering and the exact same release, except
Hmm.
they're just giving you the album and not the bonus stuff, and it's just going to be on
Right.
picture disc. So if you already have that, chances are, unless you just like collecting picture discs, this is probably not a thing to probably grab, but I don't know. I'm thinking about it because I do like picture discs for the art end of it, but it's
Right.
not going to be something I'm going to be racing towards and getting. So this is why it was not in my original 3 picks. So
Hmm.
let's see. If you see anything else, Ken, that you see
Well,
that.
another one that I was going to bring up, I forgot about, that I'm definitely going to pick up if it's there, if I can find. There's 1,500 copies of this one, and it's going to be released on July 17th. It's the Suite
Ah,
Platinum Rare. It's called. It's 1,500 of them, and it captures the four founding original members of Sweet. The rare collection comes from the personal vault of Sweet lead guitarist Andy Scott.
oh,
Uh, and Sweet fans worldwide will be amazed by the rarity of the alternate takes and mixes. Many of these listed tracks never saw the light of day on any Sweet release, and which will make this collection a must-have for any glam hard rock collector and and Sweet fan. I mean, I know I'm going to try to get this one. I know our buddy, probably David Donnelly, is going to probably
yes,
definitely be looking for this one. So it has songs, a lot of songs on here. Um, and I guess it's probably a 2 LP. Did I say it was 2 LP? Yeah, 2 LP.
yeah,
Ballroom Blitz, Rough Mix, IDC Jam. I'll just pick out some of them, but there's like outtakes, alternative mixes, cover girl, band demo, Love is Like Oxygen instrumental.
interesting.
um, yeah, Windy City, some other ones. Let's see, Rebel Rouser, Rough Mix, Blockbuster, Rough Mix, Play All Night with Brian on vocals. I guess some of them they changed the vocals. It's a different vocal. Teenage Rampage, Rough Mix. There's a California Nights band demo. That's from Level Headed album, which I love that album. That's one of my favorite ones. Hellraiser, Rough Mix, and then there's some. Where do we go from here? Maggie. I'm not sure. I can't remember all the songs, but Silverbird, a band demo. That's also from I know Level Headed. Letters d'Amour. That's another from I think Los Angeles Extended Rough Mix. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. A lot of stuff in there, a little different sound, I'm sure,
Yeah.
obviously. Um, and that kind of is exciting release, at least for the suite.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you and David Donnelly are going to be definitely extremely excited to reach for the shelves for that one. Um, there's two things left that I just wanted to mention before we start wrapping things up
Yeah.
that I was
Well,
that I was interested in.
yep.
And I'm curious of your reaction of these ones. The
Okay.
first one is the Motley Crue 40th
Oh
anniversary
yeah.
cassette box set. Now, this is something that I've started collecting myself. I don't know, you're probably not a big cassette collector, but I've
Yeah.
been collecting a lot of cassettes now. I mean, I don't think you can see, but that back shelf there is
Hmm.
full of cassettes now. I got a whole bunch of Bowie UK released cassettes, original pressings, original cassette versions.
Hmm.
I got a lot of Zappa US cassettes. I got a lot of Kiss cassettes, original
Hmm.
US and Canadian ones. So I've kind of figured, this might be something that's interesting to get because it's just the first five, up to Dr. Feelgood, right? And it has a
Okay.
little booklet about it. So I'm curious to see uh, what they're thinking of was with this. This one comes out in June as well, and they only have 1,750 copies of that coming out. But the last thing that I was thinking about getting, and this is another one where I'm kind of like, I was
Hmm.
a little suspicious on this one, but I'll read it to you here. Is on July, they're releasing 500 copies. That's it, 500 copies
Hmm.
of
Not much.
Mr. Big's Lean Into It. This
Okay.
is Mr. Big's second album, and I love this record. So, so good. It says here, first released in 1991, Lean Into It is the second studio album by American supergroup Mr. Big, which has Paul Gilbert, Eric Martin, Billy Sheehan, and Pat Torpey. This is the band's breakthrough release. Lean Into It peaked at 15 on the Billboard charts with the single To Be With You. And then Just Take My Heart was a top 20 hit single as well. Lean Into It shows Mr. Big could strip away all the flash and 7-minute solos and simply create well written songs and rhythms with groove and melodies. One of the evergreen albums of the 80s hair band rock that transcended the years, and 2021 marks the 30th anniversary of the release. Using high resolution digital transfer from the original analog master tapes that will be manufactured as a high quality 180 gram limited numbered vinyl solid red album. The vinyl has only ever been released in the US as a record club edition and has been out of print
Oh.
worldwide for 20 years. So
Hmm.
the reason why I'm interested to get it is, like they said, it was only came out as a record club pressing. And
Right.
when you do find it, it's like something ridiculous, like in the $96 or something like that
Hmm.
for it, because it's so limited. And I've always been a huge fan of Paul Gilbert on guitar. So the first album, the self-titled Mr. Big, and this one were the two records that I really played a lot. I mean, after that, I did like their stuff, but they kind of lost me a bit after that, you know. So,
Hmm.
but you know, 500 copies is not a lot of copies for it. So
No.
I'm hoping I can get this. So thoughts?
I think that's cool. I don't think I've ever, I don't know if I ever listened to Mr. Big's second album, but yeah, I'm very well aware of them. And you're saying it's really good, so it probably is very good, I'm sure. And yeah, that's a small amount of pressings to do.
Yeah.
The other thing you talked about Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that kind of, even though I don't collect cassettes, I just thought that might be interesting to pick up. I don't know what the price is going to be on that, but um, if nothing else, I think it would be definitely a good investment
Yeah.
because I think it's going to be one of those collectible. items later on down the road where it's gonna be skyrocket in value.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so too.
so I mean, I could potentially just get it, for that. I think I do have a cassette player still that I could, at least if I wanted to
Yeah.
play it on there. But yeah, that's an interesting release. I think it's the only. Well, I don't know if was other cassettes being released. I didn't notice it, but I wasn't looking for it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I think the only thing I can remember being released on cassette was Garage Days. I think it was last year's Record Store Day, or maybe the year before that they had a
It
cassette
was
copy of Garage Days. Uh, and that's about it. I don't recall very many people doing a cassette thing. And just one little quick note. I don't mean to sound like I'm you know patting myself on the
no, no.
back, but I do have a Record Store Day album coming out. The fifth anniversary of An Ordinary Day, my first album, will be available for July. I mean, I'm keeping my fingers crossed because the girl who's doing the pressings of them says that she should have them done for me by July. So sometime in June there will be a pre-order for that.
Oh,
Only
nice.
you want and you want to talk about limited edition,
Yeah.
15 copies. That's it
Was
of
that
this
right?
I'm doing. Yeah, of it. So
Ooh.
first come, first serve. Now here's a funny thing. My copy of the first album that I put out on blue vinyl,
Uh-huh.
if you go on Discogs right now,
Yeah.
there are two on sale. One of them is for $100 US.
Wow.
Okay. And the other one is like 60 some odd plus shipping, so that comes out to another almost like 80
Uh-huh.
bucks. So it's pretty pricey to get my own albums now, you know.
That's
So
crazy. Yeah.
yeah, so this reissue probably won't squash the value of them because there's only so little of them. But
Hmm.
for those people who haven't gotten a copy of it, hey, this is going to be
Is
your chance to get it.
is this new issue a different color, or is it black
It's going to
or
be black. It's a
okay.
lace cut, so it's like a direct to disc kind of like
Oh,
like
okay.
copy. So there's no stampers, no nothing. It's perfect. It's one of those ones that I did before with my EP. Every time, well, when I did it the last time, the people loved the EP. They said it sounded fantastic, and that's the thing because there's no middle process. It's just straight from the source to the lacquers to like the vinyl itself, and that's it because it's a direct cut from the
That's
lacquer
interesting.
cut,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah,
Oh, that's
that's
cool.
the last thing to mention as far as I'm concerned. I mean, do you have anything else you want to mention before we wrap up?
I'll just mention something real quick. I
Yep.
know that the Rolling Stones has a couple things, but one of them that I thought was, the Hot Rocks.
Yes.
It's the 50th anniversary of that release, two LPs, and that is 7200
Mhm.
being printed to that one, but it's pressed on yellow vinyl,
Huh.
with the expanded original artwork,
Cool.
which has 8.5 by 11 lithographs printed on embossed archival paper,
Yep.
and so on. And the other thing cool about it is it's remastered by Bob Ludwig,
Ooh. Okay.
Gateway Mastering, lacquer cutting by Sean McGee at Abbey Road Studio. So
Okay.
it might sound pretty. I do have a copy of the original
Hmm.
pressing of that on. I have a promo pressing of that one.
Oh, nice.
Um, so I thought, oh, I could get the actual, 50th ender. I have the promo when it
Yeah.
first came out 50 years ago, and then I can get the 50th anniversary. I'll be done with it.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that's a possibility. Uh, we all obviously have so much we can spend on all this stuff
Yeah.
that's coming out, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only other thing I thought was kind of cool. One of the things that are
Yeah.
cool coming out.
Yeah, and I've recently become much more of a a much bigger Stones fan of late than I ever was before.
Oh,
So
really?
it might be something I'm gonna get to because I recently got myself a zipper version of Sticky Fingers. I got a U.S.
Yes. Yeah.
copy like that, so I got the original one with the zipper. I've always had a Beggar's Banquet, the Canadian one with the not the image one, but just the straight white cover with just the kind of like like those kind of invitations you get for like a wedding and that kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
font,
Yeah. Yeah.
that kind of cover one. Uh, and I got Tattoo You and stuff like that. So I'm starting to get into the Stones a lot more now. But it's really that era between like let's say like like Sticky Fingers up to maybe like, Some
70s,
Girls, like that kind of era.
70s to 80, 70 to 80,
Yeah,
and then
that's
that little time frame.
yeah, that window is where that's my kind of sweet spot for the Stones right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that might pique my interest as well. So great picks,
Oh,
Ken.
yeah, you
It
too.
was a very good episode, and I'm going to say this with a degree of caution that I hope
That's
our next episode won't take as long for us
It'll
to
take
go
us a
back
year or
and
whatever.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
thank you all for watching. We really appreciate your support. I know that I've been messaged quite a few times by several people asking when the next East West will be coming out. Uh, Actually, quite a few times I've been asked that. So hopefully this will appease those people for now, and we will do our very best, me and Ken, to come back at a much closer time to this one, but the next one, right, Ken?
Absolutely. I hope
Yes.
it's a lot sooner.
Yes, then
Yeah.
we will think of some
Great
more
time.
topics to talk about. So thank you very much, Ken, for your time, and we will see you all very soon. Thank you, and bye for now.